Uncle Bobby here. We're here in Henley-on-Thames, England. One of my favorite places in the world. You probably never heard of it. I mean, you probably heard of England, but you probably haven't heard of Henley-on-Thames. In fact, the first thing you probably notice is the people here don't drive on the right side of the road. They drive on the left side. Across the Atlantic Ocean is a country called England, where ironically their national food is Indian food. Now in England there's a city called London. It's a huge city. It's their capital city. Very close to London is a place called Reading, and very close to Reading is a small city called Henley-on-Thames, and that's where our adventures are going to take place. Since England is one of the few places in the world where people drive on the other side of the road, they have to have signs for the tourists to let them know which way they need to look when they cross the street. The British have buildings all over the place that are more than hundreds of years old. And of course dramatic, probably unsafe, dark alleys, which are everywhere in England. The River Thames, which runs alongside Henley-on-Thames, has a long straight patch at the city, which is perfect for boat racing. In fact, the weekend we were there was the Women's Regatta, which brought together women's teams from all over the United Kingdom. At the events, people often wear outfits like the following for outdated upper-class elitist reasons, but which your Uncle Bobby wears for awesome reasons. A church has been on this site for more than 1,000 years, and the building you're looking at here was built in the 1200s. Now, a lot of the plaques inside of there are written in a language called Latin, which actually comes from the Romans. Now, both your mother and your Uncle Bobby actually speak Latin. I know. So, for instance, sum est, sumus estis sunt. That's a phrase with very philosophical meaning. It's very deep. So you should ask your mom about that one. We're here at the Prince of Wales Public House, and we're going to see the World Cup game between England and Uruguay. Now, World Cup is soccer, and it is huge over in Europe. In fact, it's like American baseball, American football, and American hockey all rolled into one. Things might get a little wild. Let's check it out. Hundreds of people were packed in that tiny pub, hoping that England would defeat Uruguay. Although they did not end up doing so, there was one opportunity when England scored a goal and the place went ballistic. Alright, Nifs, it is gruesome fact time. Now, why gruesome facts? Well, first off, your Uncle Bobby has what we call a dark sense of humor. What does that mean? Well, it means that I enjoy and tend to laugh at things that are scary or weird or strange or, you know, sometimes they're sad, but I still find that sounds sadistic, doesn't it? You'll understand when you're older and Uncle Bobby starts telling you more and more jokes. So, gruesome fact is I'm going to tell you a fact that you know, is kind of strange or weird, but I think it's also really interesting, and it's realistic to think about some of those things sometimes. So today's gruesome fact is about cemeteries. So as you know, when people die, they go into the ground. And they often go into the ground around a church. Now this church here, and many churches across Europe, have been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. So you guys know a little bit of math. So if people go into the ground every year for hundreds and hundreds of years, that means that there's thousands and thousands of people down here in the ground here around these churches. And so
In this church and many churches across Europe, the church appears to be on a hill, or the ground bulges around the church. And the reason why is because there's thousands and thousands of people who have gone into the ground. Gruesome fact,